friends, welcome to our wonderful series called Obesity Care with Dr. Kanica Yashi. And as you know, obesity is becoming a serious threat to us in the growing years. Obesity is now a burning issue and a major health crisis. And if not addressed soon, we will witness many succumb to this deadly disease. Last week, our lovely host, Meenal, asked some burning questions about what really obesity is, common problems patients of obesity face, and much, much more. Our today's topic is obesity care in children, college students, and youth. So let's talk to our subject matter expert on obesity as always, Dr. Kanica Yashi. And yes, we have a special guest as well, Dr. Parekh. Dr. Kanica Yashi is trained in internal medicine and obesity medicine and is American board certified in both specialties. She currently practices at Cooperstown, New York, and is a hospitalist as well, practicing obesity medicine. She's a skilled educator and researcher involved with multiple studies, as well as holds important leadership positions with the Obesity Medicine Association and the New York chapter of the American College of Physicians. And our special guest, Dr. Parekh, is practicing general pediatrics at Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and have more than 5 years of experience working on pediatric patients with obesity. Let's welcome our lead guest and subject matter expert, Dr. Kanica Yashi, and our special guest, Dr. Parekh. How are you both doing?
Hi, Sharad. Thanks for having me today. I'm so excited to be here. So thank you. I'm very excited for Taral joining us as well here today.
So thank you so much to both of you for inviting me today. I'm also really excited for this podcast.
Really, thank you as well, Dr. Parekh, for coming as a special guest to our second episode and making it very special. We have witnessed, Dr. Yashi speaking to me in the last episode about obesity and what it is really in its truest sense and how it is spreading across the globe in a rampant fashion. So I'll kick off today's episode by asking Dr. Yashi a question. Dr. Yashi, as we know in the statistics, the rates of obesity has increased and increasing in children, college students, and young adults. And we also know that this is pretty much rampant around us. We can see every now and then that people are becoming victims of obesity, and it's becoming a burning issue. So give us some ideas how big this problem is and how to counteract it in the first place.
Sure. So just like you identified, the problem is very serious. In children that are till the age group of 18, 19 years, at present, 1 out of every 5 children in the US fall under the category of being obese. So that is a lot. Even in the youth, that is the early adulthood, from the age of 18 till about 30 years, it's a huge problem. 1 out of every 3 college student in the US either falls under the category of being overweight or obese. As I mentioned in my previous episode, the US adult obesity rate is around 40% and pediatric is around 20%. So as these statistics say, this problem of obesity is huge and rising very fast in the US as well as worldwide.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much for the statistics and for the information, Dr. Yashi, and for enlightening our global audience about the statistics and how fast it is growing, and the way you have said the ratios are alarming. Mm-hmm. So my next question will be, why do you think this mishap has happened, if I can say that, if I can put it that way, and why are the rates so high in the younger population? And how do you gauge this, and what is the rationale for this kind of a situation in the world?
Right. So I'll let Dr. Parekh comment on the increasing rates in pediatric age group, but I will talk a little bit about the early adulthood, that is our youth, who are mostly, individuals who are in training or in the college age group or just starting their jobs or, settling into their lives. So some of the important reasons that we came across were poor food choices or, lack of knowledge about the size of the meal portion. So usually people are eating a very big meal portion, unhealthy snacking that we see very often in college students or those who are on training due to lack of time or, due to lack of ability to get out really easily, especially in students, they live on a budget. So sometimes the financial constraints can also play a role into the kind of things they are able to buy and the food choices they are able to invest in. The second reason we have seen is that this age group is so busy. They have deadlines to meet. Their work schedule is so busy that they hardly find time to engage in some sort of physical activity. And let's not forget the lack of sleep that comes with the stressful work also are reasons that leads to increase in weight gain. The other interesting reason that we came across was that this age group also tends to have a higher consumption of alcohol, and this also puts on weight. So these are some of the commoner reasons for why we have seen increase in weight gain in this age group, which wasn't the case in the past years.
Thank you so much, Dr. Parikh. Dr. Parikh, tell me, what has, in your experience, in your clinical experience, in regards to children becoming obese and their treatment as well.
Yeah, so thank you so much for a question. Actually, I have a very similar data compared to adults. So what we have seen in last few decades that obesity has increased very significantly. Right. So if I consider the data, the children has gone double than what they were before in last 30 years, and adolescence has gone more than 3 times higher rate of obesity. And that is really alarming. And generally we define the obesity when their weight is higher than 20% of their ideal weight compared to their age and height. So what is more alarming is now we can see that in the kindergarten kids or preschooler kids, every 1 in 5 child is having obesity. And once they are obese during the preschool age, there are very high chances, almost 5 times higher, that they can remain obese during the adulthood. So as a pediatrician, my role is to counsel every family to work right from the beginning, because sometimes in the preschooler age, they don't care about the weight of the child, and they feel that the more the weight, the child can look healthy, but actually it's not the case. So the obesity education and intervention should start from the very beginning of the life, that I would say around preschooler age.
Thank you. Yeah. Definitely a burning issue, and thanks for that answer. But tell us in a little bit more detail, Dr. Parikh, what can be done to help this situation? What are those tips you want to give our MANATV international audience?
Sure. So I would like to divide the intervention basically in 3 parts. So first, and of course, everyone knows about the food. So the how we make a choice of the food, it has to be a smart way. So when we buy the food, it has to be low calorie food, especially not a processed food. That is very important nowadays. Other important aspect is many parents expose their kids with the juice or sugary drink. That's definitely against the recommendation for the pediatrics. And generally less than 1 year of age, we don't recommend any juice or sugary drink. And even after age of 1 year, we prefer that child should take less than 4 ounces of juice, or maybe not even nothing. That is more better. So whenever we choose the food or a drink, it has to be smart choice. That is number 1 thing. Other thing that I would like to emphasize is try to involve your child while you cook the food at home, because they always like and they enjoy helping the parents and they feel good. So involve them when you make a food, let them mix the ball, let them add the ingredients to the food. So that's how they will get a habit of eating the food that are homemade rather than the outside processed food. So that will keep away from the junk food. Other than that, of course, the Dr. Kanika already mentioned about the food portion. That is also very important. And considering the age of the child, we should have small portion of plate so that we can limit the quantity of the food. And of course, other very important investigation, or I would say research, that has been proved that if we skip the breakfast, that means that kid going to be eating more extra food during the subsequent food, like a dinner or lunchtime. So skipping the breakfast is definitely not a good idea. And other most important thing that I would like to mention is treat. So treat is the only for special occasions, for the birthdays, for festivals. So it should not be the part of your daily routine food. So these are the few interventions. These are very important when we choose the food. And of course, every child should have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But other important thing that I would like to mention is the snack. So whenever we want to give any snack to the kid, it's very important that snack should be provided only in the form of a fruit or vegetable. So at that point, we can avoid unnecessary extra calories and we can introduce healthy food and vegetables to the plan of the patient or child diet. So that's very important aspect regarding the food. Other second part that I would like to mention is about the exercise or physical activity. That is going to be very important in the obesity plan, so, or a weight management plan, because nowadays kids are spending more time with the screen time and they don't have a time to do the exercise or sports. So at least 1 hour of physical activity. It can be any sports, it can be just a family walk or family hiking or just outdoor sports. Anything should be fine, but any kids should take at least 60 minutes of time to do some kind of physical activity or exercise. And other third aspect, as already mentioned by Dr. Kanika, that sleep is equally important. So these are the few tips that I would like to give to the parents, that try to introduce all the habits in your child life from the very beginning. So when they become adult, they remain healthy and happy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was really enlightening, food, exercise, and sleep. And even in the previous question, Dr. Kanika Yashi have emphasized on, why it has stemmed in the first place, that is food. And again, you have as well told that, the size of your plate, your food, the way you're eating and things makes a big difference. And definitely leading a sedentary lifestyle can, accelerate the obesity rates. So, and this is news to me, that sleep can be a determining factor, in gaining weight as well. And because definitely all of us, but definitely me, I am a lot of times guilty about lifestyles with different things, being in media as well. The sleep has been deprived. I really want to be honest. So, that is wonderful, Dr. Parikh. I have learned a lot, from the kind of things you have expounded. So, thank you again.
I just want to re-emphasize one point that Tarul made, that it's so important to instill these behavioral values as a child from the childhood, because many times we forget that, weight is not important for children. We are always worried about the child being not on the lower end of the weight spectrum, but we never really care whether, if they are increasing really fast in the weight or they are falling in the overweight or obesity spectrum. We don't really bother, and some of it is our cultural values, or that's how, at least in the Asian communities, it has been like that. So but it's very important to really look at the weight, the right kind of weight, even in the children, right from the beginning. So just wanted to re-emphasize that point that Tarul made, was so important. So yeah, that was a great point.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Parikh. for that wonderful answer. It was quite enlightening, and I've learned a lot, from the kind of tips you have given, and the way you have integrated food, exercise, and sleep. I'm very sure it will be instrumental in helping anyone who is watching this who has obesity problems, or who has a predisposition, or if somebody is blaming their lifestyle. They can get benefit. They can derive benefit from this. On that note, Dr. Yashi, I wanted to ask you, a lot of people, including me, find it difficult to change lifestyles. As obesity specialist, your take on that, your words to our audience.
Yeah, so I think, Sharath, the first thing about changing, your lifestyle or taking steps towards reducing weight or maintaining weight is actually acknowledging the problem. So if we don't acknowledge that we are overweight or whatever the weight status is, how do we even start tackling towards it? And not just weight, even, the diet that we eat. Have we ever really looked into our plates and think that, oh my God, this is a lot and this is what we should not be eating? Have you given it a thought like that, I should be changing my sleep patterns because I'm not getting enough rest, or do I need to take time to de-stress myself? So we need to really think about these issues to start taking steps towards this. We know that, diet needs to be good, exercise needs to be there, but we need to be able to learn to integrate these changes. A lot of it, we are there, like there are doctors, obesity experts, there are dietitians who can help mold you to adapt these behaviors. But I do believe that the onus of making this change lies to a greater extent in the person itself. So we need to really start to think about these issues. And that is one of the reasons we are doing this show, to spread awareness that people, think about these issues.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was a lovely answer. I'll move on to my next question. Dr. Yashi, you have written a blog article, it's published in obesitymedical.org about obesity in college students. It's a wonderful read. How can that be instrumental to our MANATV international audience?
Yeah, thanks. This particular area of people that have been increasing weight is very interesting to me, because not too many years ago, I was a college student too. And that's where I felt that I started putting on a lot of weight, and, the habits were not very healthy. So I always like to focus on this age group. And that's why one of the reasons was that I specifically chose to write this article. This article basically talks about the reasons that lead to weight gain in this age group, but it also talks about the steps the person can take or the college can take to reduce this burden, like, eating the healthy kind of food, the healthy eating plate, in which like half the plate is made of fruits and vegetables, the other 1/4 with whole grains, and the other 1/4 with protein, the right amount of water. So that kind of thing. It talks about cutting back on alcohol, what kind of food you can buy when you are on a budget, like going to low-cost grocery stores, or even using the fresh meal delivery services that are a lot out there these days, stocking up on non-perishable snacking items like cheese and nuts and so forth. The article also talks about ways to stay more active. For example, taking stairs as opposed to taking elevators, finding a fitness buddy when you are in college, just choosing to stand more and do your work, as opposed to being more seated, things like that, practicing mindfulness, and getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So those are the things that it talks about that one can do from their side to help reduce weight. And there's a lot more as well in the article. The other thing the article talks about is what colleges can do for the students to help in this cause. For example, introducing weight gain prevention programs, or even having your local food market come in to give food to the students at low cost, like the farmers market, arranging that bi-weekly or something like that. So I think the article is a pretty good read, and it's available to everybody, so they can log on to the website as it is being shown to access the article.
Awesome. That was a wonderful read, Dr. Yashi, and I'm very sure our audience will as well find it instrumental in many ways about this article on obesitymedical.org, and listening to you as well, even though I read it, boosted my confidence and my enthusiasm as well. Thank you for for writing such a wonderful article. It means a world for our MANATV international audience. These wonderful tips and suggestions. I know they will benefit millions at large. Thank you so much. So we're at the end of our show. So I'll ask Dr. Parikh. Dr. Parikh, give your final words as a children's specialist to a MANATV international audience. What do you suggest the kids and the youth and college students? Your take about what, just a bit of maybe some confidence to those who lack it, and to kick off, to conclude our episode.
So yes, it's very important that once we did this kind of awareness, parents should take some home message that can be useful for the day-to-day life. So I just want the parents to remember simple number that I just generally use every patient in my practice is just remember 5210. That's a simple number. Anyone can remember. I can give you the answer what the number means. So 5 means child should have 5 servings of vegetables and fruit in one day. That is very important to maintain the healthy lifestyle. 2 means child should have definitely less than 2 hours of screen time. Lesser is better. So that's how they can do more physical activity, and they can have a proper sleep. So reducing screen time is very important. Number 1 means they should have at least 1 hour of physical activity. That is, again, we already see here that it's very important part of obesity management. And 0 means that that's my personal favorite is you should not have any kind of a juice or sugary drink in a day. You can have fruits and a lot of other natural stuff that can still satisfy your sugar craving. So that was my take for all the parents. Just remember the number 5210, and I would request that it's not the parents only that can help the kids, but the parents, guardian, teachers all should help the pediatric patients to choose what is the right amount of the food, what is the right food, how they can involve themselves in a physical activity, and how they can take enough sleep and decrease the sugary drink and sugary food intake. So if we follow these simple suggestions, I believe it will help the wide amount of people. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are filled with great gratitude and had a lot of fun here. And the pun you gave, that 5210, and all the tips. Your valuable suggestions, and Dr. Yashi as well spoke at length about her article and how these things stem. I really enjoyed this session. Thank you so much It was quite enlivening, and I'm very sure our MANATV international audience are going to, take notes, jot notes, and take the right measures that were discussed in this show. So, friends, that was our second episode with our special guest, Dr. Parikh, and our subject matter expert and lead guest, Dr. Yashi. And we'll be back with yet another episode of our series of 8 called Obesity Care with Dr. Kanica Yashi. Until then, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also like our Facebook page, that is MANATV. Until then, your host, Sharath. Thank you so much.
Thank you.